And we have stormwater issues, we have combined sewer overflow issues, we have all kinds of things. All of that is being addressed now in one way or another. How much it's being addressed is the question that's outlined right now. We went through a huge comment period, a very extended comment period for the Superfund site, and we generated a ton of comments. One of the first Spanish-speaking meetings that EPA has ever held as the language and spoken the meeting. In other words, I was at the meeting and I had a translator in my ear so I can understand what people were saying, which is an educational experience to the nth degree, because now you understand how inadequate a translator is in your ear. Because you're watching somebody passionately speak, and a couple of seconds later you're hearing some monotone thing in your ear that is telling you what that person said. So you really have no connection to what's going on. I'm getting into other things now. WRIA-9 has decided it's going to be a partner in the Urban Waters Federal Partnership. The Urban Waters Federal Partnership is something that also involves people. People having access to water, clean water, it's actually what it says, and to all of the things that that's supposed to be. In other words, fishing, swimming, all of those type of things. The head of the Urban Waters Federal Partnership is the United States Forest Service here. That's a long ways away from the river, but it's not the first time they've been involved in the Duwamish Valley. Herring's House, the restoration there, the Forest Service was involved in bringing mature trees down to put into that habitat site. And they have done studies, the Forest Service, that talks about if you have trees in your neighborhood, you're going to probably be healthy. If you don't have trees in your neighborhood, you're probably not going to be healthy. Proven fact. And amazingly, Georgetown and South Park, which are the communities that surround that area, don't have a lot of trees compared to the rest of the city, or a lot of parks, or grocery stores, or a whole buses, access to health care, policing, all kinds of issues that you run into. If you do Four Corners, sometimes you'll figure all that out. So the two communities, Georgetown and South Park, are environmental justice communities. And the Urban Waters Federal Partnership is about addressing urban or environmental justice on a larger scale. And this is a federal partnership. No money, but a new table to be at, and hopefully bringing other government agencies to the table that haven't been there before. WRIA-9 has never cared about anything other than salmon. Habitats are created to help salmon. Luckily enough, we were smart enough in our habitat plan to make sure that it is a full spectrum habitat site, because you just cannot plant a plant that a salmon will like, and that means that the salmon's going to be okay. The whole web of life has to be doing well for the salmon to be doing well, okay? And that's something that a lot of business people who were also part of WRIA-9 were having a lot of trouble understanding, because they looked at it as okay, if I pay you, this amount of money, how many salmon am I going to get out of that? That's purely like engineering way of looking at it, right? It's like, I want to know. you know, so that I can judge how far deep we are in the hole. And the answer is, we have no idea. We know if we don't do anything, we're going to lose it. If we do something, we have a chance. Still doesn't, there's no guarantees at all. But in the Duwamish River, for at least 30 years, any of the restoration sites that we have done have public access. Several very important reasons for that is a lot of public money goes to create habitat sites. And if you can't see it, it don't mean nothing to you, right? It's just money out of my pocket. I'm not to do something, and I don't even know what it is. But if you go down, you look, you see intertidal habitat, off-channel habitat, or those kind of things, all of a sudden you go, oh, I understand. You see the eagles above, and you see all kinds of things coming back. When I started 35 years ago, we didn't have eagles or herons or any of that stuff in the Duwamish River. Today we have them back. And so we are seeing those spikes starting. Unfortunately, they're probably suffering for living there, but they are the harbinger. They're the first ones to come back. The cleaner it gets, the more habitat that's created, the better it will be. One final thought. Through the Superfund site, we have something called the Natural Resources Damage Assessment. That is part of the CERCLA process. CERCLA is another way of saying Superfund, okay? First of all, we know Superfund, what that means, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to tell me, I'm sorry. What does Superfund mean?
Industrial pollution on a major scale, the heavy metals, pesticides.
It doesn't have to be industrial. It can be pollution.
Is it pollution that's at a level that it's endangering life and people around the area?
You can say that probably about almost any place in the United States or the world right
I
now.
would too.
Eat it and drink it, you die.
Well, that's one way to say it.
Yeah, that's what's super fun.
Oh, it passes
the
that
yin and the yang
threshold.
issues right here.
It meets an EPA level.
It means that it is one of the
hazardous.
most contaminated sites in the country. And
Okay.
so it you know, raises itself to a Superfund site, okay? In the Duwamish River, it's not necessarily the water, although we still have a lot of problems with stormwater and those type of issues. It is the sediments in the river. Over 100 years of industrial contaminants and stormwater contaminants in the sediments of the river. Boeing Plant 2, early action areas, one of the areas that we didn't want to wait until we had a full cleanup plan for the whole river because it was so contaminated. The pollution goes down almost 30 feet, okay, in the sediments of the river. Holes on the side of Boeing Plant 2, this is how they cleaned the plant, and they just put everything into the bank of the river, and well, the river will take it away, it'll go out Puget Sound, it'll go out the Straits of Juan, if you don't have to worry about that. We don't think about things that way anymore, but that's the way they did then. And it was very important, because Boeing Plant 2, at its height of operation, was putting out 17 B-17 bombers a day, 24 hours. Had a mountain or a hill over the top of the plant, just in case a Japanese bomber came by. And there was a cow on top of that hill, live cow, that had its own little pasture of grass. So that if a Japanese guy was, you know, in a plane, no offense to anybody, they would see a real cow on top and go, well, that's a real hill. That's the extent of the way we looked at things now. And I want to make sure everybody understands